A very good afternoon and welcome to The Nation. You're here with me, Tamina Kausji, in our studios here at Banama. And today we have with us a very special guest who's come back to the studios to tell us a little bit about how to detect a liar and the use of the polygraph. Now, the focus, of course, being crime and criminology, we would like to welcome back Dato Akbar Sattar of Akbar Associates to our studios. Welcome to the studio, Doc.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for making the time for us. All right. So, you yourself are a certified polygraph examiner, sir. Now, can you explain to us what that actually means for our audience out there?
Yeah. To become a certified polygraph examiner, you have to undergo a special course. So, I underwent what I call the course in US.
I see.
In 1997. So I got a certification. So to become a polygraph examiner, you must have a certificate because it is just like a pilot. If you own an aeroplane, but you are not pilot, therefore you cannot fly the aeroplane. So it is very important.
License.
Yeah, to determine whether you lie or not lie is determined by the examiner. It's not by the instrument, because I have to look at all the graph and analyze, and we do something like diagnostic analysis on the graph. So therefore you need an expertise to determine whether you are lying or not. Because the instrument only produce graph, but it is you who determine.
Right, so you learn how to interpret the graph produced by the instrument.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
I see. Very interesting. Now, what actually is a polygraph test? Tell us a little bit about the history of it itself, sir.
Polygraph mean many, right?
Okay, many.
Yeah. Graph, then of course it's graph. So it's many graph. So therefore, polygraph technology or polygraph examination consists of three channels. The first will be your respiration. We test your respiration. Right? Secondly, your skin conductors. And thirdly, the heartbeat. So it is a 3-channel. So these 3 channels will determine whether you lie or not. But this is a scientific research, right? Before they come up with so-called polygraph. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So basically, the subject's breathing as well as the heart rate is tested. Now, so typically speaking, if there's an increase in each of the markers, that would mean the person is.
Yeah. That's why I said interpretation and diagnostic will be conducted by a certified polygraph examiner. The only certified polygraph examiner will only know whether you lie or not. Because if you are not qualified, therefore, if there is some distortion caused by your client or the examinee, therefore you make a wrong decision. So this is very important. So that meaning to say that as a certified polygraph, you will know, right? There are certain patterns in your respiration which can be considered as you lie, right? And also together with the other channel, the respiration, heartbeat, and also breathing. So there are certain chart that we can determine. A set of
markers.
Markers. Yeah,
right.
Which is only can be identified by a qualified examiner. So this is very important. With this internet technology, right? Normally, before someone sit for polygraph examination, they will browse through the internet and they will try to find out how to beat polygraph. So,
yes, I was just going to ask you about that. The accuracy of the polygraph itself.
Yeah. The accuracy is 98%.
98%?
Yeah, 98%.
Wow, amazing.
So that's why I say it's very important for an examiner to be expert and you can read the graph. And then secondly, the accuracy also will depend on the qualification of the examiner.
Examiner
right?
himself.
The more you do, the more seminar you attend, then you become better. So maybe it can go beyond 98%.
Right, I see. Very interesting. Now, when people look at beating a polygraph test, from a layman's view, that should be quite easy to do because, of course, let's say a person is in an interrogation situation, obviously you're nervous. Now, how does that factor into the results?
If you sit for polygraph test, there will be 3 stages.
Okay, yes, please tell us.
The first stages will be pre-testing.
Okay.
Pre-testing mean, we communicate and we try to exchange idea and we make sure that you are calm.
All right.
Okay.
So just like casual banter.
Exactly. So we make sure that you are calm, we negotiate with you and we tell you what we are going to do. So that will become, even though you are nervous, then normally you become quite okay. Because to become a polygraph examiner, I cannot cite the law enforcement agency or the client. My job is to determine whether you lie or you don't lie, right?
Yes, it's neutrality.
So it's neutrality. This is very important. That's why most of the examiner, if you are the IO of the case, you cannot become polygraph examiner because you'll be biased. But for us, we will make sure that we will not cite anybody. Our professional reading will be, decision will be whether you are deceptive, truthful, or inconclusive.
Right.
So this is very important.
I see. Okay, so naturally. Now, let's say, so that's step 1, the pre-interrogation. What is step 2, the test itself? What happens? Can you describe to us?
Correct. During step 2, that will be where we will install the instrument. The instrument will be for breathing. There are 2 what we call pneumograph, we call it. Okay. One we put on the upper, maybe we have some photograph, right? And then the other one we put on your lower abdomen.
Abdomen and chest. Okay.
And the other one, it's just like a doctor where you will check your blood pressure. So we are using the
blood pressure
heartbeat.
monitor.
Correct.
Okay.
And there will be a special skin conductance where we put on
the fingers.
Yeah, on the fingers. So that 3 channel will determine. And then after the examination, pre-test it take a longer time because it is a communication between the examiner, examinee, and we want to make sure that construction of question will be done during that time. But for the test proper, the time it does not take a longer time. We have to conduct at least 3 examinations based on the study and based on the research and based on the technique that we use, which is approved by American Polygraph Association. But every test it only take between less than 3 minutes.
Okay.
So if we conduct 3 tests, it takes about maybe 9 or 10 minutes. So that then the third phase will be post-diagnostic or post examination. This post-examination is for the polygraph examiner to do diagnostic analysis, to see whether based on the graph produced by the computer or by the polygraph, so we will do some reading whether you are deceptive, truthful, or inconclusive. But normally, a good polygraph examiner, you either come out, your diagnostic will be either positive, deceptive, or truthful. But rarely, come out with inconclusive. Inconclusive means maybe you are a type of examiner who do not write a construct question in a proper way. That will
affect the result.
Very important. That's why I say again, the most important to determine whether you lie or not is not the machine. It is the examiner who determines. The machine will only produce graph.
That's true enough. So the human component is essential.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Understood. Now, it's very interesting that the polygraph test itself, even though people may not be sure about how it works, it's such a part of pop culture and consciousness. We always see it in the movies, in TV series, so people know, lie detector test.
Correct.
Now, tell us a little bit about the history of it, sir. Okay. Where did this start? Who started it?
In US, right? In fact, before 19th century already they started, but of course, they started with only 1 channel on heartbeat. Then they improved from time to time. Only in 1921, then only they have 3 channels. So those 3 channels will be the best. Because to beat polygraph is quite difficult because we test you these 3 systems, right? Because for polygraph, polygraph mean we ask question and it based on your response, right? We ask, did you steal computer notebook from your boss office? The question. So normally when you steal something, your reaction will be different, but it's not as simple as I mentioned this. There will be some basic question construction, where you have been trained, and also we have to use technique. Different case we have to use technique, and technique normally we will choose the best. which has
see.
been studied and you know have been debated in among our what we call polygraph examiner, and it is normally used worldwide.
Right, okay, so it's a ratified system used everywhere.
Correct.
All right, and it's originated in America.
Yeah.
Now, what is the history of the polygraphs, Dato', in Malaysia?
In Malaysia, I think first we introduced polygraph in 1996.
Okay.
So it was introduced by one of the police officer. He went to US and came back. Of course, became the first polygraph examiner. I was the second in 1997.
I see.
So that
Okay.
was. And anyway, expansion is very huge. Right now, not only the police department who are using polygraph for their investigation and intelligence, but also the MACC, the customs, and the army are using polygraph, you know, to
Right.
conduct internal investigation.
So basically, any sector that requires the truth to be
Correct.
ultimate.
Correct. And you'll be surprised that even the private sector,
Right. Okay.
They
In
are-
what context, sir?
they are using us to screen their newly recruit staff.
Okay.
So it depends on what they want. You know, most of the company, they want to know whether were you or have you been involved in criminal activities? Are you on drugs? Have you been stealing? Have you ever received any corrupt payment? It depends on the company. Whatever they want, they give to us. So we will construct a question, and we come up and using a special technique that is already what we call
Verified. Right.
Then we will tell them whether this candidate pass or fail.
Right.
So
Can be trusted or
yeah,
not.
it's true. Yeah.
Okay, right. Very interesting. Now, roughly how many certified polygraph examiners are there in Malaysia currently?
In Malaysia, I think we have more than 20.
More than 20.
Yeah, maybe 20 to 30.
Right.
They are qualified. Right? So what we do that to get certified or to become forensic polygraph examiner,
Okay.
you have to undergo special course. That's what I say, and also to a good school. And me, I'm in Malaysia. I'm also conducting a course.
I
have
see.
an academy by the name of Polygraph Science Academy. So we produce maybe more than 30 or 40, but not only in Malaysia but also worldwide. Right?
I
So
see.
I have
Alright.
candidates from Iran, from Egypt, from Pakistan, Singapore, Brunei, South Africa. So this is what I also do. But again, it's not easy. You know, it's not plug and play. You know, you have to make sure that once they attend the course, they go back, they can conduct the examination, because this one
That's
involves people's future. You know, because being a polygraph examiner, everybody will trust you. Correct? I can just say whether you pass or fail because you don't know how to read the graph.
That is
Unless
true. The integrity of the examiner
Exactly.
is very important.
unless you hire another polygraph examiner to look into the graph and see whether
Right.
my reading is correct or not. But rarely people do that. This is integrity is very important. Without integrity, therefore, I think you'll be finished.
Right. Okay. So that's very interesting that we actually have people from all countries coming to Malaysia to train for the polygraph exam. Now, so that means Malaysia, in a sense, is an educational hub for polygraph
Exactly.
certification.
Yeah, exactly.
So how long does it typically take for, and what type of background would you say is recommended for someone who wants to be a polygraph examiner?
The most important will be your interest,
Okay.
and secondly, as what I say, you must have integrity. So normally, before you are allowed to attend a class, you have to undergo polygraph test first.
Yourself. Okay.
Right.
I see. And what is the typical background, not to stereotype, what's the typical background of people you take in to become examiners?
It depends, but most of them they are from law enforcement agency.
Law
But
enforcement.
unless you
okay.
are from private sector, therefore maybe people who are in charge of discipline and compliance. So this
Right.
kind of people,
Security, for example.
security firm, security what you call background, and
Right.
those who are involved in security what you call units. Something like that.
I see. Okay. So that's typically what happens. And how long does it take for one to undergo the course, for example, that your center
Yeah,
offers?
it takes about 8 weeks.
8 weeks.
8 weeks, yeah.
Of daily.
Yeah, very intensive 8 weeks. So we will make sure that at the end of the last 2 weeks, we make sure that we do more practical. So being in this corporate sector, so normally I have a client who are coming to what you call client who send their staff for polygraph examination. So sometimes so this practical experience is very important for the student, right? So sometimes I try and ask them to do and check whether what they are doing is correct or not, because I have to make sure once they go back or once they are out from this academy, my academy, therefore you must know what to do, right? Because again, as I mentioned, this involves people's future, right? Not only when you apply for your work, but sometimes there will be some sexual case, murder case. If you make wrong decision, therefore.
Yes, of course, everything goes down.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's quite difficult.
It's very intensive. What a big responsibility.
Yeah, it's not easy, especially when you do your diagnostic analysis when somebody fails.
That's right.
It affects people's future. Sometimes people like us examiner, we can't sleep because of us.
You're mulling the decision.
Exactly.
And going over.
Exactly. Sometimes you involve what you call affair between husband and wife. Sometimes the husband send the wife, to determine whether they are involved with some other man or vice versa, right? Or the wife send the husband to determine whether they are involved with somebody else. But if one of them or she or he fail, you just imagine what will happen to their future.
Yes, their
so
relationship,
it's very difficult,
for example.
So that's why the more important, we have to be smart and we have to tell them that before we conduct examination, sometimes we must have a long discussion so that any decision made, they have to accept and try to rectify the problem. What I want is that they have to be together.
So it has to be a practical solution for everyone.
Exactly, because everybody has weaknesses, except that maybe you have to promise to your partner that you are not going to do again. I think that will help. I will always try. We have to use some psychology. If not, it's quite difficult for us because of you make diagnostic analysis by saying that you fail, right? But that will affect his future.
Right. And how has your own educational background helped you in being a better polygraph examiner?
I was with MACC for 18 years, right?
I see.
So I started with investigation officer. So I have some interrogation experience. I attended course, and again with the Institute of Crime Criminology, I teach interrogation. So that will help because. If you don't have the interrogation technique, again, if you have interrogation technique, I think that will be a better candidate. That will help you a lot. Because sometimes if you determine that someone has failed, but if you do not have this kind of interrogation technique, he will not confess, right?
That's right.
But sometimes this technique will
draw out.
Right, draw out, and you must know how to talk to them. They will confess.
All right. So there are ways to go around it.
Correct.
Okay. Now that's really interesting. Now, how about the usage of the polygraph exam results? How much do they weigh on the sentencing of criminals, for example? Just a rough figure before we go off for a break.
In Malaysia, no, I think we talk worldwide, right?
Okay, worldwide.
Worldwide, I think it depends on the country, right? Like Japan, they consider polygraph test as a part of the evidence, 100%. They accept,
100%. Okay.
In Mexico, also the court will accept the polygraph results as the evidence. But in US, there are some states where they accept it in court, but some other state you have to go stipulation, where the defense and your public prosecutor have to come to an agreement.
I see.
Before
based upon
correct.
Okay.
Then
all right.
Yeah.
So what we'll do is we'll just take a short break, and when we come back, we'll be talking to Dato Akbar Sattar more about the lie detector and the polygraph test. Thank you. Stay with us.
Not because I like to travel. I travel so I can say this. What you're looking for is inside of you, and you should be in peace.
Prem Rawat has been traveling for 40 years, inspiring people around the world to find peace within.
I go and I talk to people, and I present them with the possibility of themselves discovering discover the peace that lies within you.
Kavita, Meling, dah set ke belum?
Sikit je lagi, Puan.
Apa menu kita hari ni?
Semua menu sihat. Ikan bakar, sup ayam, sayur-sayuran. Banyaklah.
Puan, banyaknya guna minyak. Bahayakan kesihatan lah.
Betul lah macam ni. Saya dah kurangkan separuh dari biasa ni.
Cuba rasa ni. Sedap tak?
Biar kurang masin, jangan lebih.
Betul tu. Kita kena kurangkan minyak, gula,
Garam dan santan dalam masakan. Barulah ramai pelanggan datang ke kedai kita.
Semuanya
sihat belaka.
Menyelami realiti, menjejaki masa, meninjau peristiwa, paparan kronikal kembara kehidupan, pelbagai keunikan juga pengalaman menarik. Segalanya disorotkan selama setengah jam dalam channel Bernama setiap Ahad jam 9.30 malam hanya di Bernama TV.
Welcome back to The Nation. You're here with me, Tamina Kausji, and Dato Akbar Sata in the studios speaking to us about the polygraph examiner test as well as how to catch a liar in the criminal context. Okay, sir, so as we were saying, which countries actually accept the polygraph test 100% as part of evidence? You mentioned Japan.
Yeah, you talk about polygraph admissibility in a court, right?
Yes.
Japan accept 100%.
Right.
As evidence. In Taiwan, the judge will use the polygraph examination result before they pass the sentence.
Right, I see. So we're actually showing some visuals of the polygraph machine itself on the screen.
So this is the analog system, right? It's very
Analog
old system. Yeah.
Okay, is it still in use, sir?
Some old timers are using,
Right.
but it's quite good. But it look like quite professional on by using this. Yeah,
Right.
And these are those photograph where the earlier
archive photographs.
correct, the earlier polygraph examiner in US, how they determine whether someone's a liar or not.
Right, so some of the early tests that
correct,
were
yeah.
administered.
And these are the other what you call example, right? The
Right.
police in Chicago, they are using this to determine whether polygraph is
That's right.
accurate or not. Yeah.
I think aside from what they're wearing, I mean, it's replicable in today's scenario as well.
Correct.
It looks pretty much the
correct.
same.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so people are very used to seeing the visual of a polygraph test being administered, but I think what viewers and the audience don't really understand is the gravity of it. So you said in Japan it's 100% admissibility. How about in Malaysia?
I think at the moment Malaysia, the law enforcement agency are using for internal for investigation only. Right?
Okay.
And then that will help them, to lead, to
Right.
some extent. I give you a good example. Right?
Yes,
Sometimes you have 5 suspects, correct? You have 5 suspects. So, but normally you have 5 suspects, but one of them committed a crime. But the
Right.
problem is that normally the law enforcement agency will put you in behind bar, without
right.
having any other means to determine whether you are you the one who are the real criminal. So what they have in US and also in Singapore, what they do is that, and also in Malaysia, you have to conduct polygraph examination on those 5 suspects. So at least those 5 who pass the polygraph examination, you can release them because this is human right. Because you cannot simply detain them and they have no say, how to prove. But this is the only instrument for you can prove. Then the one that who fail, then I think it is worth for you to continue your investigation and get more evidence. This is very important. Number one, you in fact you can shorten your investigation time, and secondly you have to be fair, right? to the innocent, and thirdly I think the result of your investigation will be very fast.
That's right.
Yeah.
So basically, it definitely aids in the crime investigation process.
Yeah.
And in your opinion, would you say the 20-30 odd certified examiners we have in Malaysia, are they sufficient for the size of our country and the crimes, or do we need more?
I think we need more. 20 polygraph examiners is not enough. Singapore got the highest number of polygraph examiners based on population in the world.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
Because they are concerned with security.
That's right.
They are one of the best countries in security. All the custom department, the police department, the HR department, they are using polygraph to get the best candidate to become their staff.
Right.
And also to conduct intelligence, to conduct polygraph examination on the high risk post, where your desk is high risk,
Right.
When you
Okay.
suspect your staff that the possibility of getting involved in corruption or giving
White-collar crime
white
is
collar
high.
crime or
Okay.
or what they call exposing sensitive information, so they will conduct the polygraph examination. It is a preventive measure, meaning to say that if if I tell you that you will be undergo polygraph examination every 6 months, I'm sure before you want to get involved
Right.
in
True.
unethical activity, you will think twice, because you have to be subjected to polygraph examination. So this
Exactly.
will be the preventive factor. I have a few examples where we conducted a few screening for a company where they lost about 2-3 million per year because of
Internal.
correct.
Okay.
eh?
All right.
But we conducted
Irregularities.
the what do you call the polygraph examination. Then I think out of 18 failed, 2 passed, right? But of course we advise them, and right now, in fact, the company is telling me that they only lose about 30 or 40,000 per year. So you save about 1.9 million, per year.
Right.
I'm talking about a small company, so it's a preventive measure.
There you go, because one can only imagine the figures as you look at
Right.
big public
Alright.
listed companies.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's interesting. So the polygraph test is not only for drawing a conclusion, but it's a preventive measure.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
And how could you, in your opinion, what would you recommend that not just the Malaysian government, but governments around the world, how could they integrate polygraph exams more into the system?
Okay. When you are in America, if you tell lie, what do they say? Are you going to sit for lie detector test? Right?
Yes,
Even
it's such
though-
an automatic
Exactly.
reaction.
Even
That's
though
right.
it is quite skeptical, but still this is the only tool,
Yes.
the best tool, to
Right.
determine whether you are lying. I think that to be fair, especially when you conduct investigation, this is very fair, right? To use polygraph for the innocent. So meaning to say, polygraph is not only to determine whether you lie or not, but to
Also
save
to-
your life.
That's right.
Sometimes if you are suspected, to get involved in crime, or you have been arrested by the law enforcement officer, you cannot defend yourself, right? But at least you can tell them, Tuan, I want to sit for polygraph test, right?
Right, to prove my innocence, for
Right. But there is no other way. Because
Okay.
unless they put you inside, they have to gather evidence. But sometimes, after 1 month or 14 days that you are behind the bar,
Yeah,
they
you're
release you
remanded.
without any evidence. But I think, to be fair, it's very important because it is very professional. When I went to US before, it became a laughing stock where they label me, maybe why only you just came for this taking this kind of course. So we suspected that maybe you are hitting your suspect. This is what the suspect was. For them, they are
Right.
professional. They don't
Okay.
hit, but they use polygraph to determine. It's a very
Okay.
professional and very intelligent way.
Understandable as well, the
Yeah.
perspective that they
Yeah.
might have.
Yeah.
All right.
Say again, that's why I want to stress here. If you have been labeled, you have been framed,
Right.
what defense do you have?
Okay.
No.
Good point,
Correct.
sir.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah.
So polygraph really helps to take all of
Yeah.
that out of the question.
That's why in Singapore, they got a lot of problem of maid, foreign maid, where they reported to the police, and the punishment is very severe. You go to jail. So
That's
what
right.
they do
We've
is
all
that,
read that in the
Yeah.
news.
What they do is that they come out and see us, and we conducted the polygraph examination. If they pass, they use this polygraph test and use it as evidence that can help them. If not, they'll be in trouble because 2 or 3 of them will be pinpointing on you, so they have evidence to charge you.
Right.
So in Singapore, it's very severe where you do not treat your
Domestic
maid,
workers.
domestic workers, or that will cause a severe penalty. You can go to jail.
I think it's high time we institute something like this over here.
Yeah.
I think the number of domestic abuse worker cases have just been increasing every year.
Sexual harassment, right? Sexual harassment.
Right, that
If you are working with one of the bosses, right? So he's one kind of he got one kind of positive asking you to sit on his lap, something like that, right?
Right.
But what defense you have?
Okay.
You don't have defense, but at least you come and see us, or you meet a police examiner, tell them and say that either you test him whether he's lying, or you test you whether you are telling the truth or not.
Right. Okay. I mean, clear cut.
Yeah.
As it goes. Okay, excellent. All right, so we'll take a short break, and once we're back, we'll be talking more to Dato' Akbar Sattar about how exactly polygraph tests can be used, not just to convict, but to defend the innocent. Stay with us.
Issues, latest headlines, illuminating visuals, everything right and now on Bernama News.
Sedar tak kita tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, keadaan iklim yang tak menentu sekarang ni. Perubahan iklim meningkatkan kejadian kemarau, derebu, banjir dan ia menyumbang kepada perubahan iklim yang berlaku secara drastik. Inilah dia faktor-faktornya. Yang pertama, asap dari kenderaan. Yang kedua, penebangan dan pembakaran hutan. Yang ketiga, pembebasan asap dari industri perkilangan. Dan yang keempat, pelupusan sisa buangan. Ini usaha yang Pak Abu buat, iaitu yang pertama, menanam pokok. Yang kedua, mengurangkan atau tidak menggunakan beg plastik. Yang ketiga, mengasingkan bahan buangan. Yang keempat, mengitar semula bahan buangan. Dan yang kelima, memilih barangan dari bahan kitar semula. Ada banyak lagi usaha yang boleh kita lakukan. Antaranya, kurangkan pemanduan kereta persendirian dan banyakkan penggunaan kenderaan awam.
Anda adalah sebahagian daripada penyelesaiannya.
Nongkah batasan masa. Mengupas isu semasa. Jadi saluran pelbagai suara. Segalanya baru dan benar di Berita Bernama TV.
Welcome back to The Nation. You're here with me, Tamina Kausji, in our studios at Bernama, and Dato' Akbar Sattar speaking about the polygraph and how it can be used in daily life as well as for criminal convictions. Okay, Dato', as you were saying, so the polygraph has a various amount of uses, even in daily life. Can you give us some other examples where you feel that the polygraph could be useful, not just for the criminals, but for the innocent as well?
Yeah, actually, for company, right, those who want to hire the staff, right, when you want to see whether they are involved in drugs or they have been stealing in the company, previous company, because in Malaysia it's quite common, right, where once you are involved in corruption or in unethical activity in the company, they will not report to the police, so you have no record, but you are in the system. So you apply the job, then maybe in company you join me, but in Malaysia, to conduct background checking is limited. The
database is limited.
Limited, and it's all OSA. You see here, unlike
OSA,
US, Official Secret Act, right? All that.
I see. Okay.
Unlike in US where you pay $8, you can see all the
everything
information on
anyone.
But here it's very expensive and illegal mostly. So what they do is that they only consulted with the police. If you have been sacked by a company without the company do not report to the police, therefore you have no record Therefore, you are still clean. When will you not be clean? Maybe you steal chicken egg, then something like that. You got caught, then you got what do you call it?
Right.
Correct.
Okay.
But you are white collar criminal where you steal money, millions of dollars from a company,
or even some, but you're just fired.
Right. And also you are involved in sexual harassment in that company, but because you do not conduct a thorough examination or by using polygraph, right? Therefore, we can rectify this kind of problem. You can detect them.
Yes, I think all of these are really common everyday problems popping up. And perhaps they don't have the awareness.
You see, like, if you are a smart, qualified polygraph examiner with some interview technique, you know, sometimes you do not have to use polygraph. The first during your pre-test examination, then only you know, right? Because for us, you know, polygraph we use physiology, you know, where we ask question, it will reflect on you, right? Yeah, if I ask you
your technique,
right? Did you go out with Ahmad yesterday? You say no. But normally when you're a liar, your expression will be different, correct? And also the physiologically you will it will show differently on the graph.
Right.
So again, I just would like to mention here that, and then for a polygraph examiner, they are quite smart because they also have experience in psychology. Okay.
Okay.
Psychology
that's why it's
means
recommended as
right,
a background.
Right. You see, in China about 2,000 years ago, when they want to determine whether you lie or not, this is they use psychology. No, they use physiology. They ask you to chew rice. You know, rice. So after a few minutes, a second, then you spit out. Those who spit out, if the rice word right, therefore you are a liar.
Okay, interesting.
No, because physiologically, liar, you have dry lip, you have less saliva. So this is what physiology. You get physiology. This is the truth.
Right.
And secondly,
so that was the simple logic used 2,000 years ago.
Right.
All right.
And there's another example in Egypt. Same physiology. So normally they were very jealous about their wife. They suspect their wife, you know, having affair with somebody.
Infidelity, etc. Okay.
So they send to the so-called traditional polygraph examiner.
Okay.
Right. So what they do is that this one they are using different tactic where they burn what they call a bar iron, a small one, you know. So, you know, something used for 2,000, 3,000 years ago. You used to fry your meat. Something like that. They use that kind of thing. Right?
Okay.
So they just burn quite hot. Then they ask you to lick 3 times.
Okay.
1, 2, 3. Physiology.
Okay.
If you lie, automatically you get blister. Saliva, less saliva. So if you are truthful, therefore there will be no blister. It is a physiology. It's quite same thing. Psychologically, if you look on television right now, or every time when a politician or whoever, right, who speak,
this body language and signs.
The first body language will be normally their lip will be dry. That is one of the reason of lie.
The telltale sort of signs.
Secondly, you know, there is some foam here, no? Appear here. That is one of the. The other one will be touch the nose. You know, this is physiology. A lot of sorry, mention, right? A lot of politicians, not only here, normally when they want to talk, maybe they do not have facts, so they say, then they touch the nose. It is a physiology, you know. Once you lie,
almost.
Automatically you change, and you know, sometimes your nose get itchy, something like that. This is physiology. You
see. Okay.
If I lie at home, right? If my wife were to ask me, did you go out with Amina? I say no. Automatically, you know, my face change, pale, in split second. Right. Okay. This is physiology.
Okay.
Right.
Yes.
So it makes sense, right?
It makes sense, yes, up to a vast degree. Now, how about psychopaths or psychological liars? I mean, those also exist amongst the general population and such that they might even be criminals. How would a polygraph as well as a polygraph examiner be able to weed them out? These are people who are experts. They lie for a living.
And remember, the polygraph examiner is so expert. Right?
That's right. So,
you know, psychologically, you can know a liar, right? I ask you, are you from Malacca? You say no. Did you go out with John? No.
Okay.
Your tone is automatically different. One.
Okay.
Number two, your body language. You keep on looking at me.
Right.
So that is psychology. You see, same thing. If you have a house cat, right? You scold the house cat. The house cat will be looking at your eyes, right? Be looking. But once you smile, then
the body language changes.
It's very important all here.
Right.
But this one, because we do not, especially in Malaysia, right? We do not put this in book. But people in Western country, they put this in book. This has got some correlation with lying and you know why you are looking at me? Because you want to make sure that I believe you.
Right.
Correct.
Yes. Interpersonal exchanges.
Exactly.
Okay.
Very easy to determine whether your hubby is lying or not, or your boyfriend is lying or not. Right. So normally you ask, did you go out with Nancy last time? If he does not lie, he did not lie, he will give you only one answer, no. But a liar, he will come back and say, oh darling, actually the question that you asked, blah blah blah.
Right, making a long story out of it. Okay.
If you can try to visualize, sometimes we do this, just don't want to hurt our partner.
Right.
These are the
so those are
body language.
white lies, for example.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Now, of course, for example, when you deal with criminals, you're dealing with criminal lies. Now, what type of techniques have you seen in your many years of experience, people employing who are trying to get away with a lie?
Okay, we talk about psychopaths, okay? But normally, you don't have to talk so fast. Some we call a compulsive liar, right?
Yes, that too.
So, but normally, that's why I say a pre-test is very important. You conduct a pre-test,
Yes, that's when you're having the casual banter.
Some people, they are hardcore criminal, where you meet them, they are very aggressive. How to speak to them? All the time they will bend the table.
Right.
How to speak? This is
the body language.
That's why you must have psychology. Human, right? Around our head here, there is some weakness,
Right.
So that's why I said you must know interrogation, you must know some psychology. Some hardcore criminal, you talk to them, of course, talking easier than what mentioned, but you can handle this, some of the cases,
right,
where you find ways. But this hardcore criminal, normally their weaknesses will be, when you ask question, you keep asking mother, father, they don't care. But sometimes you ask, how many children do you have? You say 4 or 5, right? Who are they? Then he keep on mentioning. Then the last one, how old is the last one? 2 months. That they will cry, something like that.
Right. So because there's something human in all of us, regardless.
We are human. Sometimes hardcore criminal, sometimes they have kind-hearted also on certain issue.
That's right. It's not a blanket.
Yeah. I don't say kind-hearted, but they can be
they're capable of normal emotions.
Correct. Especially on the issues.
Right.
I'm not saying that it's not easy, but it's quite difficult. But there are ways to find.
You can draw it out.
We have witnesses. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that's very interesting. Now, how about the fact that the voice analyzer is not often used, and we have the polygraph being used literally all the time?
You see, the best tool to determine whether you lie or not already determined by most of the people. That means the best tool will be polygraph. A voice analyzer, they only use voice.
Okay.
Only one system.
What does the voice analyzer system actually look like? Could you describe it to us, sir?
Something like
also a box shape.
Yeah, but it's more on the test when they're on vocal. But for us, we test 3 systems, right? The heartbeat, the skin conductance, and so your respiration. And most of the law enforcement agency are using polygraph. And some of the state and country like Mexico and Texas, they ban
voice
analyzer because they are thinking of the result, right?
And you want accuracy.
Yeah, more accurate. I think maybe voice analyzer, maybe you can use for simple thing. Maybe for fast to determine whether they are lying or not. But again, we are talking about accuracy. And for polygraph, we have research. We have been doing this for how many? Maybe 100 years or 80 years.
So it's backed up by a whole host of scientific
after we
studies.
used the channel about 80 years, right?
Right.
And a lot of research and technique are the best technique. A lot of research. So we only use technique that have been verified by American Polygraph Association. That's why I'm the member of Polygraph Association, so that I will always update my knowledge
as well.
And I have to go to US and undergo
for refresher
conference, refresher course, and mix with them and tell them what are the best
solutions.
Technique and solutions. So this is very important.
All right, good to know. All right, so we'll take a short break, and when we're back, we'll be back in the studio with Dato Akbar Sattar talking about criminology and the use of the polygraph. Stay with us.
Terima kasih. Sama-sama. 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 Sama-sama.
Satu cerita, satu bangsa, satu Malaysia.
Halo, apa kabar pemirsa? Salam dari Jakarta. Sebuah program kerjasama Kantor Berita Indonesia Antara dengan Kantor Berita Malaysia bernama kembali hadir menjumpai Anda.
Welcome back to The Nation. You're here with me, Tamina Kausji, and Dato Akbar Sattar, and we're speaking today about crime, criminology, and the use of the polygraph test. All right, so as we were saying, now the polygraph test is really accurate, 98% accuracy. Now, people also have a fear, especially I would imagine criminals. Now, what are some ways you have found people try to beat the polygraph test?
You know, it's very easy. You Google in the internet how to beat polygraph, they will teach you. One of the ways will be you put the thumbtack, you know.
Okay.
This is what they do. You put thumbtack, right?
Okay.
But thumbtack under the what do you call your
in your shoe.
Yeah, in your shoe.
Okay.
Then you just press that, because according to this study, I don't know study, according to his opinion.
Okay.
So once you got
that pain reaction.
The pain reaction will try to divert you listening to me, right, to my question. But again,
okay.
as I told you, you need not have to worry, because as polygraph examiner, we know, right? Because the test will take times, so sometimes you forget, right? Sometimes you keep on pressing your feet or whatever foot, right? But that, you know, sometimes you unaware that we know so I caught a few of them, right? Some of them.
Oh really? Okay,
they
actually doing.
Yeah, they tried it, and then some try to control their
breathe.
But for us, you know, we have a standard quality. You control me, the graph will come out as though.
Right. In a sense, it might add to the results.
Right. That's why I said, you know, sometimes if you are not a qualified examiner, you know, sometimes, you know, some try to distort, right, to control breathing. That may become same as the what you call same as the graph that you give points. That will be a problem. So as a certified polygraph examiner, you will know this is no, you can't calculate, and this will be what you call will be out, and you only calculate on certain issues. This is very important. And a good polygraph examiner, you do not look at your computer. If you look at the latest what they call polygraph instrument, now we are using computerized
computerized input as well.
So the good examiner normally will not be looking at the graph, but we will look at you.
Okay,
this is very important.
That's right. I think the interpersonal connection tells you a lot more.
But the new examiner is very problem for them. They like to look at the graph and want to make a decision on the spot. It's no point, because the graph you can print and
exactly
you can
let it be and focus.
Because people may control. You can see control. And again, right, to sit for polygraph test, you need to sit at least 3 exam. Right, first exam there will be 10 question. Right, control question, relevant question, and normal question. It depends on the technique. Then after that, you stop for a while. You take another test. Right. Even though you control whatever you control, but you are human, right? No, after second test, you become normal.
That's right. I mean, there's only so much that you can fake, in a sense.
The most important, why you need a local examiner, but not a what you call overseas examiner. You know what?
Right.
Polygraph, it based on question. I ask you question. Did you steal a computer notebook? But if you do not understand my question, therefore there will be no reaction. Just imagine you go to Kelantan and you interview a criminal in Kelantan. You cannot speak English, or you cannot speak bahasa Malaysia.
Yes,
because you say
their local dialect.
Yeah, local dialect, because there will be no reaction. So it's good for him because he doesn't understand. Once he doesn't understand, there will be no action. So you have to speak a local dialect. This is very important.
Meaning I understand. So there's a huge need for.
Right. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Now getting to that focus, can you tell us approximately how much does it cost to get oneself qualified as a polygraph examiner? For anyone out there who's listening, or even our viewers.
We charge about 17,000, right?
For a full certification, 8-week course.
Yeah, 8 weeks, and it's a hands-on. It's very difficult. You know, a lot of work. We start from.
It's literally a crash course from morning
it's not
to
easy,
evening.
To get, and we will make sure that once you are there, you go out, you are sure you can do. But the other problem will be you have to buy the instrument. Right. So without the instrument, you can't conduct a polygraph examination.
So in general, I think the polygraph examiners would still sort of be restricted to organizations who get them certified.
Right.
Let's say, for example, company X, they decide, okay, we need and then it works that way.
Correct.
Now, what could you suggest or recommend to overcome this? Because we do have a deficiency even in the local market.
You know what? Even the companies, you can just send your staff, right, who are interested to get a certification.
Right.
Then you buy instrument. That will save a lot, because if you send to me, I charge quite high. So it's about 2,000, 2,500 per examination. I mean per session.
Right.
But anyway,
expertise and your time is limited.
Correct.
As well.
Yeah. But you buy the instrument, and you know, when you conduct maybe 10 candidate, then you get back your money. Correct.
Yes, in a way, and it's something that stays with your company and your organization.
But the best part is that I'm quite surprised. A lot of people from Middle East, they come over here and not only come and study, but they sometimes they got some personal problem. They will bring their wife or their husband to come to sit for polygraph test.
I
with
see.
Me.
Okay.
So that's also
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We have so many cases. In fact, every month we have somebody from UAE, from Thailand who come over here. You know, sometimes even in Singapore, even there are polygraph examiners in Singapore. Maybe because of the personal affair. Maybe they don't want the examiner to know you. Then they come over here, and most of Westerner Middle Easterners, Middle East client who came over because they found that it's very difficult to go to US now.
Right. So it's one of the nearest ports of call.
So at least I got
some
market from on that region. Yeah.
Right. So aside from private clients such as this, what other kind of organizations or individuals approach you for the services?
As you know, right? Our army, I train them. Our police, PDRM, I train them, and the MACC, and also the custom. So all of them have a polygraph examiner. And also private sector, I think yet there is nobody, no company yet who asked to train their own officer. But most of them send their new recruits. They are asking me to conduct polygraph examination. But there are some times where they have corruption cases of fraud in the company. Then they will also send to me to determine whether they are lying.
Okay.
So I think that also we have many cases. And now the latest will be the insurance company. So you know what?
Insurance companies.
Insurance company. You see, right now, insurance company, a lot of people who bought expensive cars,
right,
400,000 or 500,000, and they
so
declare.
basically, it can go across the board for all kinds of things. All right, excellent to know. So what we're going to do is, thank you so much for your time in telling us about all the myriad uses of the polygraph test, and it's been our pleasure having you in the studio.
Thank you.
We hope all our viewers have gained a lot from our session on criminology and the use of the polygraph test. So do stay with us because we'll be back again next week. Take care.